In the previous episode, what I had discussed is the parts of speech one by one. Now what I am going to do is give you the detail of each part of speech. Basically, I will not give you the definition, but more so I will give you the position of the noun in a sentence, the adverb in a sentence, a preposition in a sentence, and so on. Let us begin with nouns. Now, a sentence like, the sun rises in the east. Now, if I ask you to underline the nouns in this sentence, I expect you to do it by now. Here, the nouns are sun and east. Now, if you can see and if you recall the episode that we had done on SVO, you would see that here is your verb. So, everything on the left side is your subject and everything on the right side is your object. So, you can see that in the SVO, the noun has two positions. Nouns can appear in the subject as a part of the subject or the whole of the subject, or in the object as a part of a subject or a whole of a subject. For example, here this noun is part of the object. You have other words like in and the. In is a preposition, the is an article. Here you have three parts, out of which a noun is just a part of the object. However, there are sentences where the noun is the whole of the object. For example, Ram killed Ravana. In this sentence, here is your verb, everything on the left is your subject, on your right is your object. Now, if you see that this is a noun and this is a noun, so both are basically occupying the whole of the subject and the object. Ravana is occupying the entire object and Ram is occupying the entire subject. Now you know about the position of nouns in a sentence. Let us move on to verbs. If you recall the previous classes that I have taken for you, you already know where a verb is placed in a sentence. Hindi has SOV, मैं घर जा रहा हूँ, the verb comes in the end, whereas in English, the sentence is always I am going home. So your verb is situated in the middle of the sentence. And to become the best of speakers of English, it is very important, or even for you to become the brightest one in grammar, the identification of the verb is step one that you have to understand. So remember this, it is always the subject, the topic of the sentence, and then followed by the verb and finally the object. And thus you know the position of the verb in a sentence. Now coming to pronouns. By now, you already know that pronouns are basically replacement of nouns. Wherever you can replace the noun, you fit it in with a pronoun. For example, Ravi is a good boy. Here, Ravi is the noun, boy is the noun. I will replace Ravi with a pronoun called he. He is a good boy. Now, in the above sentence, this is of course your subject because this is your verb and this is your object. And by that rule, you already know if nouns can appear in the subject and the object position, pronouns can also occur either in the subject or in the object position. Coming to adjectives. Now, what are adjectives? Adjectives are noun modifiers. And in a sentence, adjectives have only two positions. One, it can occur just before the noun in the subject, or it can occur in the object position. I'll give you an example for both. The first one, that is, the adjective appears just before the noun in the subject position. The black dog jumped over the fence. Here, in this sentence, if you notice, this is your verb. So this obviously is your subject and the rest is your object. Now in the subject, this is your noun. And what is which word here is modifying the dog or is adding information to the dog? Black. It is just telling us how does the dog look. So this is your adjective where it is appearing in this position just before the subject. The second example is the dog is black. In this sentence, this being your verb, this is your object and this is your subject. And here the word black, which is an adjective adding information to the dog, which is a noun, is placed in the object position. So that is why your adjectives can appear in the noun, before the noun in the subject position or in the object position. Now let us look at adverbs. Okay. Now the position of an adverb in a sentence are two. One, just adjacent to the verb, either here or at the end of the sentence. Adverbs can appear just adjacent or just beside the verb in the sentence or at the end of the sentence. For example, run the race quickly. Okay, I'll just change the sentence a little. I will run the race quickly. Here you have will run as your verb, this as your subject, the race as your object, and here is your adverb. So it is taking this position, that is the object position in a sentence. The second example would be she quickly removed her shoes. In spoken English, you often bring your adverb here just beside the verb in order to make some impact. However, you should understand that this is just a result of the transformation of the sentence, that is movement of elements in the sentence that has resulted to this being here. So the position of the adverb is adjacent to the verb. Here is the verb, just adjacent to it is your adverb, and then finally the object. So these are the two positions in which adverbs can appear in a sentence. Now coming to conjunctions. Going on to conjunctions, I would like to tell you prepositions. Now, as you already know that it is preposition, that is, it is prior to the appearance of a noun. For example, where are the nouns in a sentence? Either in the subject or in the object. Similarly, your prepositions appear only before the noun. So, it is therefore either you have it in the subject or in the object. For example, number 1, on a bright sunny day, she wishes to come here. So here is your noun and here is your preposition. These both are simply adjectives adding to the meaning of day. So here is your preposition. Sentence 2. The phone is kept on the table. So here is your noun. Here is your noun, and just before it, here is your preposition on. So basically, prepositions appear just before the nouns in a sentence. Now coming to conjunctions. Now, as you already know, conjunctions are words that join two sentences. So obviously, conjunctions will have to appear here, one position, Or you have other kind of complementizers for adding clauses in a sentence, if you remember the clause episode, where you have complementizers here adding SVO, or you have complementizers here adding SVO. So these are the positions where conjunctions can appear in the sentence. I'll give you an example for each. I will go home and I will have an ice cream. Ramesh, who is a good painter, is coming to town today. Here, who becomes your complementizer? Ramesh is traveling to Hyderabad, which is also known as the Pearl City. So there, the word which is adding as a complementizer. So here are the three possibilities where conjunctions can appear. However, remember 2 and 3 are basically complementizers. Pure conjunctions have only one place, that is between two sentences. Now coming to the last part, that is interjection. Interjections have only one place where they can appear. That is the beginning of a sentence. For example, yay, we won the match. Alas, he is no more with us. In all these kind of sentences, if you see, the interjection, which is always there after, before an interjection mark, exclamation mark, if you look at this, an interjection always appears just before an exclamation mark, is always at the beginning of a sentence. Now, you have completed all the position markers of the parts of speech. Let us move on to something called articles. Now, what are articles? You have often learned that in English there are 3 articles: a, an, and the. These basically are quantifiers of the noun. For example, whether you know a definite single noun, or you know a definite plural noun, or whether you know indefinite nouns. Now, a and an are called indefinite articles, where they appear before a noun where the noun is not definite. For example, please bring me a chair. If I ask you to please bring me a chair, आप मुझे कोई सा भी chair उठा के ला सकते हो. But if I ask you please bring me the chair, you would ask me probably that which particular chair are you talking about. So basically, when we do not have a particular noun in mind, we use a or an, and when we have a definite or particular noun in mind, we use the. Now, let us move on to see where is a and where is an used. A is used before a noun which starts with a consonant. For example, a cat, a dog, a zebra, etc. An is used before a noun that starts with a vowel. For example, an egg, an elevator, an inkpot, etc. However, you have to remember that there is an exception to this rule, which is, I'll drop this portion out. Whenever there is an exception in the vowel u. Whenever a word starts with a vowel u and is pronounced as a complete u, for example, uniform, okay, you have a uniform. However, when the vowel u is not pronounced as a complete u and has more of an u or a sound, it is an umbrella, where u is umbrella. Here, because u is having a pronunciation of a complete u, you have a. Now, the simple rule is, when you have a definite noun in mind, for example, a name of a city, name of the holy books, the religious holy books, name of historical monuments, name of anything in particular, you have to use the. Then, when you are not confident or you do not have a definitive article or definitive noun in mind, you basically use a or an. Now, the simple rule is, whenever your noun starts with a consonant, start your article is a. Whenever your noun starts with a vowel, your article is an. However, when you are using the noun starting with a U, be careful. If the U is pronounced like a full U, you have a. If the U has a sound of a, oo or whatever, anything else, you have an. That's the simple rule. Now, there are certain things that you'll have to remember. As I mentioned, name of cities, name of historical monuments, name of religious holy books, name of geographical entities like rivers, mountains, beaches, etc. All those have the before the article, before the noun. For example, the Himalayas, the city of gold, the Ganges, the Bible, the Gita, the Quran, etc. Whenever you are using a country's name, please do not say the India, the Germany, the England. However, there are certain countries which are an exception. For example, the United States of America, the United Kingdom, and the United Arab Emirates. Now, what happens in these? They are basically not one nation but a conglomeration or an association of nations. That is why you attach the before those countries. Apart from that, please remember, do not attach the to the name of countries and to the name of people. Hope this was easy. I will also attach an activity after this session for you to practice.